What's up to Lion Talk Live? We love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Do Crew. This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it is Lions Talk Live. It is a Friday, and hopefully you guys love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live in the morning. Hey, we've got a bit of a story that came out yesterday. Did some work on it overnight, this morning, whatever you want to say. We're going to dive into it. Did Ben Johnson try to do somebody dirty in Detroit? We'll go through it. We'll go through apparently some information about the Lions big board and go from there. Real quick, before we get the show a rocking and a rolling and a going, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, why the heck not? Hey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you can. We are marching our way to 13,100 subscribers. We're 15 subs away. So if you can help out with that, I surely would be thankful. Same with the Do Crew. Also, if you would be so kind, reach on down. It doesn't cost you a dang dime. Hit that thumbs up button, that like button, all the buttons out there. We try to get every episode between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. If you've watched YouTube for any time, anytime you can hit the like button for whoever you're watching, that does that channel, that show a great deal of good. So try to help out and support any kind of content creators you do enjoy. All right. Besides that, if you are perhaps considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, let alone the continental United States, give me a call or shoot me a text. I've been a realtor for, over 30 plus years. So if you're looking for somebody who has inside information as far as how houses work, properties work, maybe really understands warning signs with a bad situation with the property, it's not going to steer you wrong, going to look out for your best interest, etc. Go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. We can have a conversation. It can be for a commercial property. It can be for vacant land. It can be for a new house. It can be for an old house. You get the gist. I can help you out. So go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. I know one of you guys reached out yesterday looking for some commercial property that needs to have 2 ports for 18-wheelers. I'm going to have that to you today. So, all right, with all that out of the way, let's get this show going and head over to the first segment of the day. And as you know, that is 5 headlines now, if I can find the button. All right, 5 glorious headlines now, and I'm going to tell you this. We've got more like 7 headlines now because I thought there was a couple cool ones to throw in there, so we will do just that. All right, Lions predicted to draft 6'2", 78 touchdown quarterback as Jared Goff's heir apparent. The Sporting News story by Mike Moratis with this one, and this is a name that has come up before, so could there be some validity to it? I don't know. We'll have to wait until the draft to find out. Whether, not Hendon Hooker is going to be the guy to ultimately someday replace Jared Goff, I have no clue. But there are at least some people suggesting, or at least considering, that since the Lions went with Teddy Bridgewater last year in the playoffs as the backup, that maybe that's a damning statement against Hendon Hooker. I personally don't believe so. I believe they just wanted to go with somebody who is experienced and been a starting quarterback, not potentially having to throw Hendon Hooker out there for his first NFL action in a playoff game. So we'll wait and see what shakes out. But it is being suggested by more and more people that a day 2 candidate for the Lions to draft would be Alabama signal caller Jalen Milroe. Milroe did not have a great week when he was out there at the Senior Bowl and all that stuff, but his strengths and potential are clear for most to see. And yes, the Lions could bring him in, develop him, sort of like Jordan Love for 2 or 3 years. Probably not going to spend a first rounder, I would think, unless the Lions really are in a developmental mode for a high-ranking quarterback. But could somebody who's maybe a late-round pick, mid-round pick, end up coming to Detroit as potentially a heir apparent for the Jared Goff? Could be. Goff does have several years left on his contract, so it would be my anticipation if the Lions go this way, you're probably looking at replacing Goff in the next 3 years. Will this all ultimately shake out? I don't know, but it is the offseason. You know what? Writers going to speculate on stuff like this. So as far as Mike Moratis, that is one of his speculations. All right, moving on to the next one. We've got Lions adding longtime NFL quarterback as new offensive assistant. USA Today, story by Jeff Risdon with this one. This news did come out late yesterday. I thought about going on air with it, but just didn't have the time with work and coaching stuff. But if you didn't know, Brad Gronkowski is going to be the new Lions assistant coach mentioned in this story. He has been a long-time NFL quarterback. He's been out of it for a few years now, but he did come on in, and he is going to sign with the Detroit Lions and add to perhaps some of the Lions' passing attack. We'll see where it goes, and also the development of some quarterbacks. Perhaps a late-round pick by the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell snubbed for NFL Coach of the Year. A story by Christian Boer of SI.com. I was a little surprised by this. Let me ask you guys in the comments section. Just say Dan Campbell why, or Campbell no, or DC why or no, whatever you want to do. I was surprised that Kevin O'Connell got 25 first place votes, 361 total points for votes, from votes, whatever you want to say. Dan Campbell got 19 first place votes, 283 total vote points. You know, just my opinion, Dan Campbell did a better job, but then again, I'm a Lions fan. I get most people did not anticipate the Vikings having the type of season they did. All that said and done, if the Lions would have won one playoff game, that probably would have aided Dan Campbell, but who knows? No disrespect to Kevin O'Connell and the job he did with the Minnesota Vikings. I just personally thought the Lions setting a franchise record for most wins, first ever time to win the NFC number 1 seed, and then back-to-back NFC North champs. I thought that would have put him into the promised land for being Coach of the Year, but apparently not so much. Lions projected among top suitors for Jets failed addition. Story by Patrick McVay, New York Jets on SI.com. We did speculate about this one earlier in the week. There were some similar reports that came out, but as we know, going into the trade deadline last year, Brad Holmes did come out and talk to the New York Jets about acquiring Hassan Reddick. Reddick is heading to free agency. He'll be one of the better linebackers in the market despite a down year. Pro Football Focus's Mason Cameron floated that the Detroit Lions, among others, will be interested in Reddick. Reddick, again, was somebody that Brad Holmes went out and tried to acquire for the Lions last year when Aiden Hutchinson went down. A deal could not be struck between the two parties, and then about a week or two later, Reddick did return to the Jets. Will the Lions look to acquire him, or will it be, Max Crosby? Will it be this guy, that guy? I don't know, but I think most of us would agree the Lions probably going to do something. Aiden Hutchinson himself, and I get you could have done a video on this yesterday, talking to Press Row. He was talking to a number of different outlets, including Pat McAfee, and I think he did a couple other interviews yesterday. He said he felt the Lions were going to be pretty aggressive this offseason, trying to add some talent to the team. He didn't have any specifics. He didn't name names. He just simply said, in his opinion, the Lions were going to go ahead and try to add somebody. Will it be Hassan Reddick, especially since you don't have to give up draft capital to acquire him? Man, I like that idea more and more. All right, Detroit Lions quarterback Jared Goff, wife expecting first child together this summer, reports say. Story by Alyssa Robertson of the Detroit Free Press. I was hesitant to bring this story up, but I thought maybe time was due. Some of you guys have been longtime Duke Crewers. It reached out to me, 2 seasons ago when Jared Goff had a real bad game. I want to say it was against Chicago Bears, and then 4 days later against the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. And there was information out of some people that I talked to still in Detroit media suggesting that Jared Goff and his then fiance may have had a personal moment. And that's why Goff looks so far off. Yes, it involves having a potential child, and I'm not going to go into all details. I'm sure you guys can draw your own conclusions there. So I'm bringing this up just because sometimes we have to remember these guys are human beings, and sometimes things that happen outside of the football world do affect them. I'm very personally happy for this news, if it is accurate, that Goff and his now wife are going to have a child, especially in light of what happened basically 2 years ago. Kudos and thoughts for him. And hey, anybody who's been a parent probably understands exactly the joy and happiness they're going to feel. I'm glad to hear that Jared Goff and his wife are going to be expecting a child. All right, CJ Gardner-Johnson happy to be in Super Bowl after a year of, quote, hell with the Detroit Lions. Story by Dave Burkett of the Detroit Free Press. For those that don't know, Dave has been working press role for a few days now. You could even say a few years now, going out and doing stuff on that for the Super Bowl. Gardner-Johnson, obviously a former Lion, kind of divisive in the Lions fan base. Some loved the guy, some didn't. Some were kind of met on it, but he did not mince words. He felt like the Lions did him dirty, promised him a second contract, did not deliver, said he rehabbed his butt off. And I'm paraphrasing here. Rehabbed his butt off to get back on the field. Then when he got back from injury, didn't feel like there was a place for him and his team. Quote, true, thankfully, like in Detroit, it was hell, he said. Continuing, quote, I went there to just go, okay, when I got hurt, I was like explicitive, it. Truthfully, that's why I didn't go rehab there. Gardner-Johnson, as most of you guys know, spent the vast majority of his rehab down in Florida, then came back when he was close to being ready. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all of his quotes, but in a nutshell, he's okay with not being in Detroit. Didn't have a great time here. Points fingers at Aaron Glenn, who was very close with him, kind of like a almost a pseudo uncle, godfather type personality for Gardner-Johnson. Also part of the reason why he came to the Detroit Lions. Remember, when he was originally signed as a free agent to Detroit, that was considered a massive win for the Lions, who were trending upwards. But just in a nutshell, Gardner-Johnson is glad to not be here, has no kind words, I think would be the easy thing to say for the Detroit Lions and the way he was treated here. So kudos to him for making the Super Bowl. Kudos for the Philadelphia Eagles for being there. And yes, we'll see what happens from there. All right, Ben Johnson wins Assistant Coach of the Year, and this is the last of the 29 headlines now. Assistant Coach of the Year, Detroit Lions face, quote, transition with new OC Dave Burkett, again on the story with the Detroit Free Press with this one. And I think we all get it. Ben Johnson is going to be a part of the main topic of the day here. Ben Johnson, Assistant Coach of the Year, and I get it, man. He, highly sought after assistant coach. Did a lot of good things here in Detroit, etc. But as we're about to find out in the main topic of the day, there may be a reason why he took the Chicago Bears, and there may be some bad blood between him and the Detroit Lions. So you know what? Enough of the speculation and the teasers. Let's just dive into the main topic of the day. All right, so Kurt Steele just sent me a message. Won't be able to make it here this morning. He's dealing with a family matter. So, sorry I had to look that up, but trying to stay on top of things here. All right, main topic of the day, as you guys can probably tell from the thumbnail for today's show, it appears during one of his exit interviews, and this is all being passed on to me from Detroit-based media or a couple people there within, that it's fairly common practice when you're departing coach, whatever. You have an exit interview with the head coach, the general manager, etc. That's pretty standard code. It's not unheard of. It's also usual that you're escorted out after that just to prevent any kind of situations or issues. It would appear, though, that maybe Ben Johnson does have a bit of a, I guess you could say, hard feelings for the Detroit Lions. It would seem during that exit interview, what apparently was held in Brad Holmes' office, that he requested a photo be taken of him, Brad, Dan, etc. In that photo, somebody knucklehead this one. Apparently on the backboard behind him, on the dry erase board, there was some detailed information for the Detroit Lions draft board. Was this done intentionally? That's what I have to leave to you, because I have no clue. But it would be my guess, very few things like this happen by happenstance. Usually there is somebody who Scooby-Dooed it and came up with a question for it. Why would it matter for Brad Holmes or Ben Johnson to have that information? I'll leave that to your opinions and you to ascertain. The only thing I can say is you went to the Chicago Bears and now you've tried to get some information about the Lions draft board. One thing happening, probably is tied to the other, in my opinion. That's my opinion. You don't have to have my opinion, but it does appear that Brad Johnson did take that information, and some of that information has now been revealed through different networks, social media, or whatever. So we're going to dive into what was revealed as far as the Detroit Lions draft board, and this is as best as I could Scooby-Doo it, superimpose, dive into it, but here are the great or the Lions players out there that were on the board that apparently Ben Johnson was able to leak out to people. And I wouldn't even consider the first guy, Jalen Walker, an edge linebacker out of Georgia. Widely considered, I would say, one of the better prospects out there. Could the Lions really get him? I would have thought he would have been well higher than our 28th position on the draft board. But he is up there. Could this suggest the Lions are considering trading up to get him? That would be my guess. I would guess. Let me know your thoughts. The next guy, I would say a lot of people have speculated on it. He is a former Michigan State Spartan and Detroit native, and that's Derek Harmon, a defensive tackle from Oregon. Now, he's someone I think you could make a trade up to probably, I don't know, somewhere around 18 to 15 and try to get. But if you don't know, he is 6'5". He is, I want to say 320 pounds, something like that. Going that route for the Lions, I would say they're obviously making a commitment to the future of the interior defensive line. Maybe that suggests that DJ Reader's going to be here one more year and gone. That I don't know. But moving on down the list here, and there's not a ton of them I could, really kind of make out. And some of them, to be fair, I had to guess what the words were to a certain degree. Mike Green, the edge out of Marshall. Everybody gets it. His stock is rising. The dude's athletic as can be. If you watched him do the tough man drill during the Senior Bowl and all that stuff a week or the lead up week, hey, he pancaked some pretty good sized offensive linemen, especially some tackles. Really did well there, and I'm sure that's going to aid his stock. You can't teach speed. You can't teach passion. You can't coach those things up. You either got them or you don't. Mike Green does appear to have him, and he does appear that he is somebody of interest for the Detroit Lions. Another one on the list, I was kind of surprised by this, but it does make sense, and I had to Scooby-Doo. Again, some of these may not be 1,000% accurate because I'm doing the best I can to read a dry erase board, and they, again, super zoom in and everything, but I believe it was Tyler Booker. Now, I don't know a ton about him. I know he's a guard from Alabama. I want to say he's a massive one. The notes I found on ESPN and a couple other draft boards or whatever had him at roughly 340 to 360 pounds. Everybody's stuff kind of varied. He is 6'5". He can move too. That's what I like about him. When I watched some video trying to get ready for today's show, the kid can move. And we talked about Morton, the new offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, coming on out. And he's going to probably be more run-centered. Also, that means more misdirection, having your guards pull, trap, etc., get out in space. Man, you talk about adding him out there with Christian Mahogany, another guy who's pretty dang big and mobile. That would give the Lions running game a whole lot of new blood in it and ability to get out and do some different things. You could even say maybe in the screen game with these guys, that would add a whole lot. Now, there's one more I kind of got on there. Actually, two more now that I look at my notes. One is the defensive tackle from Michigan, Kenneth Grant. And most of you guys are going to be familiar with him because he is a Michigan fan, and I know so many of you guys are Michigan fans. Those who don't know, he's about 350 pounds, about 6'3" or 4", somewhere in that range. Good chance he could slide down or slide close enough to where the Lions could make a move to acquire him. This would raise a question since there are two defensive tackles on this list. Does this mean Broderick Martin is not panning out? And I would say if this board, and I did read it correctly, keep that all in mind. I did what I could to kind of superimpose and try to read some of the material on it. But would this mean that Broderick Martin is basically not going to pan out for Detroit? My guess is Lions spend a first-round pick or make a trade up to get one of these two guys, that yes, that would be probably damning evidence against Broderick Martin. But wait and see what happens. And then the last one that I could really read, to me, it looked like Jay Campbell, so I'm going to assume that's Jahad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama. He would probably be a bit of a luxury pick, or just, it'd be a great pickup. I think most of us would agree that would be a great add, especially since Kelvin Shepard is the new DC. Is this somebody we can really go out and get? He could fill in as a Sam linebacker. My guess is it would take a season, maybe two, for him to really kind of hit his stride, like most rookies, right? I don't want to have over-the-top expectations, but sort of like Mike Green we talked about earlier, kid's got speed. He's also played a ton, so I'm assuming his ability to pick up play recognition, things of that sort, would help out a little bit there. I like Mike Green over Campbell personally, especially if you're going to have Mike Green as a linebacker, but that's what I was able to get off of the board. And again, if I mess some of these up, I did the best I could. You guys can probably find it on social media and make your own takes on it. But it does sound like, in my opinion, if this actually came out, the question would have to be, why did Ben Johnson do it? Was it a mistake? Was it done intentionally? And again, I don't really believe in mistake moments. I believe things happen with purpose. I believe, especially in the world of coaching, since he would have known he's going to the Chicago Bears, etc. The Lions probably dropped the ball on this one. From all reports, he was escorted out, like you would expect if anybody's now a former employee, especially going to a bitter rival in the Chicago Bears. And my guess is he probably took the cell phone, had, like I said, Brad Holmes and Campbell there, everybody doing a smile photo op, didn't think about what was on the board behind them. It happens, though. But if I'm the Detroit Lions, that's twice in one season, I guess you could say. I probably want to rethink where some of these dry erase boards are and some of the information there within. So what do you think, Duke Crew? Is Ben Johnson adding fuel to the fire for us against him and the Chicago Bears? Did he do this intentionally? This is not intentionally. And then I guess the other question would be, what do you think of these prospects I can make out? And there is other stuff there. I can't read it. I can't make it out. So it would be, if somebody else can, by all means, dive into it and see what you can say. It would appear, though, that the Lions, for the most part, on the board we can read, seem to be focused on either offensive line or defensive line. Although I guess you could say Mike Green could be a linebacker / defensive lineman. I think if he's going to be a D end for the Lions, he's going to have to put on probably at least 10 pounds, because most reports have him around 235, 240 pounds, and that just seems incredibly light for the average defensive edge for the Lions. All right, Duke Crew, what say you guys? Let me scroll over the top of the screen. Give me a moment, please. And, hopefully you're doing okay there, Kurt Steele. We'll catch you on the next one. So don't sweat it, my friend. JDC, morning all. Back at you. Jess, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. Big Ben, do us dirty? Maybe. The question is, was it intentional or unintentional? And I guess you could be fair to say it doesn't really matter that information's out there. The list that I was able to come up with, is anybody really going to go, wow, that's breaking news? That's, game changing? I would say no, but the one thing I would say is, at least in a little bit I was able to dissect, we mentioned it minutes ago, it seems like you can really kind of draw a conclusion where the Lions potentially are trying to go with those first and second round picks, assuming they don't trade them away. So I guess that's what you could say out of it, is you've got a pretty good insight into what the Lions are thinking. Robert, greetings and salutations, back at you. Five Fingers Freddy, was it a mistake or did he mean to do it? I'm going to go me, myself, and I, maybe even though I'm positive Pete or whatever, I'm going to think it was done intentionally. I don't believe mistakes like that happen just because it was a mistake. Been wrong before, though. Moonscar, good morning, Duke Crew. Exclamation point. JDC, you have been requested in another chat by someone whose name we cannot name. Look for the Villain Squad, usually on at 10, Monday through Friday. I was told this person, I'll see what I can do. All right, we'll see what we can do. Also, Moonscar, before I forget, have you heard anything about the Jeremy B thing? Let me know, man, because I've been waiting to hear from you. Just That is the cue. Oh, question. 5 Fingers Freddy. Yes, it is the question indeed. Quentin, greetings, salutations. What did the board say? Well, hopefully you caught it, and when I went through it, at least that's what I could make out of it. Rob, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. The Lions are the grooviest, Daddy-O. Yes, they are indeed, 100%. Hookadoo, good morning, Duke Crew. One Pride. Do you mean Ben the Weasel Johnson, Benedict Johnson, whatever you want to call him? Yes, that is the person we are referencing. Jason, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. The rivalry with the Bears just continues to heat up now. You're not wrong. You know, I'm torn on the Chicago thing because, again, as a coach, you take your opportunities when they present themselves. Maybe that's the only place that offered him a job. I don't know. Maybe he did feel like it was the best situation. It just seemed odd to go to Chicago knowing that you were going to face the Detroit Lions, you know, your buddy, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, all your former players. That's a tough situation for any coach to get into. And not that it hasn't ever happened before in, you know, football, soccer, or whatever. But usually as the parting coach, you try to avoid that just for all the situations it's going to provide, all the anxiety, all the buildup, all the drama. Unless you wanted that smoke, unless you wanted that drama. And with now this information coming out, I do believe there is some sort of rift that maybe we're not yet fully aware of, that we're going to have to wait a couple weeks, months, or whatever to find out the whole story. But I do believe there's some sort of issue, gripe, what you want to say, between Ben Johnson, MCDC, or maybe it's just the Detroit Lions. Mike Doreen, Gunny. Howdy, Dan and Duke Crew. Happy Friday. Woo! Back at you, Gunny. Big Eddie. Morning, all. Even if he did leak it out, we are 28th. I doubt it has a huge impact on the draft. Most teams are going to have similar grades. Yeah, some of that I would agree with. The only thing I can say, I know I said it a little bit earlier, Eddie, is it probably gives some good idea if I'm an opposing team, especially near the 28th pick. Hey, the Lions are probably targeting this particular player or these particular players. It's going to be a little bit harder to use misdirection. All right, Moonscar, if there's any truth to this, that's a pretty big insert profanity here move. Sorry, man, I got to clear my throat. And yeah, I would say that's a big middle finger if correct. Rob Kendall music, be groovy and smash the woo button for Coach Dan the Man. Back at you, and thank you for that, Rob. So Ben Johnson just adding a lot of fuel to those Bears versus Lions games fired next year. I would think so. I would think that's going to be pretty dang heated. And if they don't have an offensive line by next year, man, you talk about Caleb Williams running for his life. I think they're going to come after him early and often. And you talk about the Lions' offense. They're going to want to prove next year that they weren't just, the byproduct of Ben Johnson. I think if they have an opportunity to put one on the Chicago Bears or two, they're probably going to try to light up that scoreboard. Dennis, good morning. Dan, the Duke Crew, about the Coach of the Year. Yeah, I would say bejesus about him not getting the Coach of the Year. I really thought Campbell would be the slam dunk candidate, but it is what it is, I guess. John, good morning, Coach and crew. The more I hear about Johnson, the less I like him. You don't undermine your team on your way up. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with things, man. It's surprising, some of the stuff, but a lot of this has been surprising. Aaron Glenn came out and said he wasn't going to try to poach any coaches or players or whatever. I get that. He probably did feel that way for about 15 minutes, and then he said, hey, I got to worry about my own career, my own situation here. I got to bring over some guys. Ben Johnson, to his credit, I guess you could say, has not made those statements. He's going to hire and sign whoever he can and apparently do whatever he can to win. Moonscar, yeah, and Ben Johnson wins Assistant Coach of the Year. How about that? Clark, here I thought Ben went to Chicago because it was the best job for him. I'm starting to think he wants to put it on Dan Campbell and the Lions. I agree with that. Dennis, yep. Rob, so he leaked it. He's a rat. Rats don't last long before they destroy themselves. It could be totally be that he does exactly that. Again, I think the Lions are going to have a little extra motivation, a little extra Mountain Dew in their veins going after him this year. JDC, Moonscar Blade, thanks for the info. I will check it out. Check it on out. Pat, I can't wait for next season. We've got some heated games coming up between Chicago and Detroit. I would agree with that fully. Big Man Bear, good morning. All be safe and have a wonderful day or weekend. I'll go with all the above, and good day to you too. Voltron, hey, I'll hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for that, Voltron. Hopefully you are the 5 Lions and not the 15 cars. Moonsky, let's see, Man Bear Day Weekend. I got you, man. I got you. Dave, I thought for sure today's show would be about Hutch, talking about MG and Myles Garrett. Everyone had that up yesterday over it myself. I get it, man. I know my brother Tim and, a few of you guys sent me over photos of, I want to say it was Hutchinson and Goff talking to Myles Garrett somewhere yesterday during Super Bowl pressers. And I want to say one of the talk shows asked Hutchinson about Myles Garrett. I get it, man. We get more information. Maybe I'll dive back into it. I just kind of want to move on from it for a day and talk about something else. Just as I thought this story was a great one versus that one. Alliance Talk Live fan frowning. Okay, I'll frown. Let's see. Henry Moore, what do you got? Good morning, Coach Dan, the Duke Crew. Exclamation point. What a team. What a podcast. Thank you for that. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! Go Lions. 100% indeed. Moonscar Blade, Dave Bing, I agree. Done with speculation and the way too early mock drafts. Yeah, I did put out one mock draft last week, as you guys know. I'll probably do another one in another week or so, maybe every other week. Really, once we get the NFL scouting combine out of the way, I think that's where the mock drafts get a little bit, juicier. I mean, having the Senior Bowl and all that stuff, that's good intel for sure. And not that one thing overly affects the other thing. It's just we get closer to the draft. That's where I probably have more interest in it personally. Trey, what's good all? Question mark. This is why security has to walk former employees out of the building. Don't want stuff like this going down. Yeah, 100% there. And again, it was probably just a honest miss by the Lions, or at least their part. But considering what happened with Jefferson earlier this year, and Gibbs, I'm surprised they didn't really drop the hammer on some of those dry erase boards. Moodsgar, good morning, Man Bear. There we go. Darcy, David Bing. It does it get after a bit? It does get after a bit, okay? Franch Hutch did say yesterday he's about done with rehab. That's good news. Yeah, I did see that too, and man, he could have probably done a full hour video just on the things Hutch talked about, his extension, potential extension, Myles Garrett, rehab, and all that stuff. But so far, everything he said yesterday and the way he was walking around, I thought was good news. I think he's going to be pretty dang good by the start of next year. Stephanie, let's see. Good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Working today and listening in. Have a great day all. Skip Ben Johnson. And hey, thanks for all you do there, Stephanie. Susan, good morning. Former employers, sometimes what to get one over on people. Shake my head, Ben. Yeah, maybe that's what you just try to do. Maybe try to get a little extra information before he took off. JDC, Puff, woo, coffee, and Lions Talk Live. Gotta love it. Moonscar, I personally would like to thank Ben Johnson for making this easier on us to get over it. Rip the Band-Aid off, and he did just that, didn't he? Brian Felicia, good luck with the Revlon Williams. There you go. And I hope we just bury the Bears both times next year. Broski Bear, I'm sure you're out there watching, and hey, no disrespect to your team, but I hope they all fall on their face. Let's see, Rob, Ben Johnson is officially he's on the naughty list. We'll go with that. JDC, who is this Ben Johnson guy? That I don't know. Let's see if we can get some information in the show. Lions Talk Live fan, like I said a week ago, Ben was doing dirty since November. It does seem more and more like they're in, I'm not going to do a full hour video. I feel like we did that when he left, but it does seem like Ben Johnson perhaps was not at his best at times this year. Big Eddie laughing out loud. JDC, right, says Eddie. Hoodskar, JDC, nobody. Rob, JDC, he was a Merc hire by the Bears. That might be true. Troy, MCDC, and Holmes are always 3 steps ahead. I would think so. So that'd be my big question. Did they anticipate that and put some bad information on the dry erase wall or board, whatever you want to say? That could be. And wouldn't that be hilarious if like 5 months from now after the draft or something like that, we find out that MCDC and Ben Johnson anticipated he was going to do some jazz like that and took him in a completely wrong direction. That would be hilarious. Keith, good morning. Greetings, salutations, Dan, everyone. Woo! It's Friday. Yes, it is, man. The weekend is almost here. Patrick, it was good to hear Hutchinson talk about how they were wrapping his rehab yesterday at the Pat McAfee show. Yeah, and it sounds like he's doing fine. No ill effects, no issues whatsoever. So good for him, man. JDC, Rob Kendall, laughing out loud. Lauren, good morning, Duke Crew, back at you. JDC, tick, 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 it's woo time. Yes, it is. Pierce, skip Ben Johnson. I'll go with that. Drum Reaper, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Woo! I concur with your assessment of the situation. Donnie Burr, the infamous one. Skip Ben Johnson. I concur. Don Burr, not without. Yes, indeed. Not without that. Don Burr enjoys your thoughts. JDC, woo! At this Dan Thornton guy. Thank you for that, JDC. I'll take that. Thank you. Pierce, Don Burr, good morning, sir. I concur. Rob, I have subscribed to Lions Talk Live and Brian Picario, and you should too. Hey, thanks for that, man. Thank you very much. Marcus, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew. Arnold Benedict Johnson is such a loser. Let's hope he's a loser every year, at least twice a year when the Lions play him. Maybe 3 times when we play him in the playoffs. 9 Drinks, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Hopefully you're having a good end of your day, I want to say. This is, you get back from work around this time and then just kind of relax before you go to sleep. Don Pierce, good morning, man. Can't wait to face the Teddy Bears next season. No, that would be a great day for the Lions. Gutting, I think of all the coaches who left can not unsee the draft board, but still don't know who Ben will go after. There's still too much raw data to sort through and like to combine in interviews. Yeah, 100%. Can he give you some kind of glimmer, whatever, into what potentially Holmes and DC are planning? Yes. Is it going to give you the tell-all, be-all? No. But again, it's kind of an underhanded move if it was done intentionally. And at this point, me, myself, and I think it was done intentionally. John Green, salutations to Dan of the world-famous Duke Crew from Muncie, Indiana. Woo! And back at you, Johnny. Pierce, Don Burr, I have said this for a long time. Ben Johnson equals Josh McDaniels 2.0. OC, but terrible head coach. That's probably a fair statement to make. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what Ben does as a head coach, but Josh McDaniels, yeah, that's a good call there. JDC, Rob Kendall, gotta love shameless plugs. Hey, nothing wrong there. Marcus, we'll call him Arnold because he's Benedict. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. And I see what you did there too. Don Pierce, I'm really starting to believe that. Yeah, agreed with that. Greg, Manistee, Duke Crew digging out. Woo! To all. Back at you. Detroit D, greetings, sanitation, everyone. And good morning to you too, kind sir. Hookadoo, I'll be right back. I have to go take a Ben Johnson in the bathroom. Hey, go enjoy it and have a good time, my friend. Laughing, says Rob. David, rumor has it that Detroit is picking up Cooper Kupp. There have been some rumors about it. I know the suggested or whatever a couple people put out yesterday, the suggested trade value would be like a 5th or a 6th rounder for him. I don't know, man. I mean, would he be a nice weapon to have? Sure, David. My only worry with him is that he's just injured all the time. When he's healthy, like against the Lions last year, I mean, he can be a massive, massive weapon for this team. The question is, can he be healthy enough to be that weapon? I don't know. We'll see what they do. Mike the Rain Gunning, no worries with Brad in the draft. Yeah, 100% there. Moonscar, bear down, Hookadoo. There you go. Hookapoo. Yes, Hookapoo. Don Burr, I'm taking a Ben Johnson toilet right now. Enjoy it, my friend. Rob Hookadoo, I hope everything comes out right. Yes, indeed. Marcus, Lamar Jackson, and DC got robbed. I would think so. I think there's a lot of that. 9 Drinks, Don Burr, my guy, love seeing you on here more often. Great addition to the Duke Crew. Yes, indeed, 100%. Paperback fan, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. No to Milroe, Bama quarterbacks below. Okay. Spirit of Detroit podcast. What's good, man? What is going on with you, Avery? Hopefully a great start to your day. Marcus, oops, Lamar Jack. I knew you were going with that, man. I knew. JDC, Hookadoo, flush choice. It's been a long way to Chicago. Yes, it is indeed. Don Bird, 9 Drinks. Hello, sir. 9 Drinks AG in the house. And he is. No, I'm Milroe. Okay. Says Detroit D. Marcus has a second team all-pro quarterback ever won MVP that other than Josh Allen. That I don't know the answer. Mike the Marine Gunning, DC, yes. Paul, he was snuffed. I would agree. 9 Drinks from an undisclosed location. You'll keep it undisclosed then. Don Burt, March 12th is when things get a little fun free agency tampering day. Yes, it will be. I mean, let's be real. Free agency tampering is probably already happening. Sort of like, what was it? Matt Stafford happened to show up, where was it? In Culver or wherever it was. And, of course, Sean McVay's there. They both just happened to make it to the same hot tub together. I mean, odd situation, but it happened, I guess. Let's see. Rob, DC, yes. Okay, Courtney, he beat the winner twice. He did indeed. David, I sure hope Jared Goff is working on his being more mobile during the offseason. There was a report, I want to say it was yesterday or something like that, we had on the 5 headlines now, that Jared Goff did state he did it last year working on his mobility, was going to work on it more this year. JDC, MCDC, come on, man. I'll go with that. Avery T, haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. Hey, Dan, do you think we can sign Garrett and Crosby and they give us a discount? anything's possible, right? We'll see how bad they want to be here and win. Marcus, DC got robbed. I concur. Paperback fan, I'm not surprised at everyone hating on Detroit. Yeah, I do feel like we've been kind of like the darlings of the media for a few years now, and now you're seeing some media backlash like, hey, we're kind of over you guys. We want to give you guys a little shade now. Big D, Ben's really turned into a bad person. Leave this stuff on everyone out the door. What a thank you for making his punk. Sorry, my opinion. He's a bum. I thought he was better than this stuff. Hey, man, opportunities like this reveal themselves. Somebody has the opportunity to do something. They can go one way or the other. I think we all get that. And apparently Ben Johnson, I mean, just more and more of the evidence, to me, my thoughts only, seem to suggest he wanted to go to Chicago so he could get back at Detroit for something. The question I would have is, what's his burning issue with Detroit? Did him and DC not get, or Dan Campbell not get along? Did he think Sheila should have paid him more to stay? I mean, who knows, right? Well, maybe sometime in the future we'll get the full information, but it does seem like he's lifting a middle finger towards the Lions. All right, Mutskar, I get KOC has injuries to deal with. Cooper does okay, and has the beginning of the season. But when MCDC wins the division, deals with more injuries for the whole season. The Bears KOC two times. Come on, man. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. The fact that the Lions overcame all the adversity that they had and still won the 15 games. That's why I thought Dan Campbell would really win, Coach of the Year. Silver Server, good morning, Coach. Anyone back at you. Avery T, hey, Dan, do you think the Lions can sign Garrett and Crosby if they give us a discount? Maybe if we can get them for 5th or 6th round picks, maybe. And see, Jay-Z, not, quote, surprise, KOC won Coach of the Year, but Dan should have won. Regular season award, Dan beat KOC twice, wins the division with a patchwork of practice squad players and street free agents while setting Detroit record with W's. I agree with everything you just said. See, Jay-Z, watch out for the Coach of the Year curse. I'll go with that. Maybe it's sort of like the man curse. Don Burt, the NFL needs an Offensive Lineman of the Year award. The big guy got left out too often. Without the Sewell Ragnow, except we wouldn't be as good. I agree. And that's why, even though we had it on the board, as far as what I think I could read off the stuff, who was the kid? I'm trying to remember the time. Booker from Alabama. If we were to go get that guy in the first round, I'd have zero complaints about it, man. That offensive line, him and Mahogany, and not that Panay's old by any stretch of the imagination. That line starts looking pretty young and pretty powerful and pretty mobile. Rob, Mazel Tov to the Goffs, 100%. Congrats to them. And again, considering what they went through a couple years ago, just couldn't be any happier for him. JDC getting real to D. Go Lions. Henry Moore. I think for Coach Campbell to get Coach of the Year, he would have to take the Super Bowl and win it. Then because of it's the Lions, even then he still may not. Yeah, 100%. Rob, Dave's not here. JDC laughing. Pierce laughing out loud. CJ was waste, I think, of $10 million last season. Yes. I know Lions fans most did not enjoy him by the end of his stay here, and apparently he did not like being here. Famous RW, greetings, salutations. I'll take my 80 degrees here in Texas and my Lions in the Super Bowl next season. You go get it, my friend, and good to see you, my friend. Let's see, Don Bird, CJ Garner Johnson, mouth and silly antics got him pushed out of Detroit. I do believe, I like the guy as a player. I like him as a person. I just don't think for what the Lions want out of their players, he was a good fit here. Jay-Z, Panay had double the votes for Offensive Player of the Year than Mahomes. Turns out his 2 votes were from Tom Brady and Teddy Bruschi. Let's see, Moonscar, CJ Garner Johnson might have been tough playing a partial season and making like $9 million, then come back and run your mouth. He did just that. And I remember right before halftime at San Francisco, him taunting the fans and everything. Yeah, I think that's probably was the final straw, or whatever you want to say, for the coaching staff, because obviously they don't want their guys doing that kind of stuff. Jay-Z, Henry, Coach of the Year is supposed to be a regular season award. I agree with that. JDC, famous RW, you win. It's 4 degrees here. Hey, stay warm, my friend. It's 17 according to the computer outside here right now. ABT, look, we can't go out and have a great regular season and Goff decided to have a bad playoff game, and we got bounced out in the very first round. Actually, it was the second round, but the first round for the Lions. Yes, I agree with you there. Got to stay in the playoffs and get some wins. Pierce asking the offense to put up 45 every game was not sustainable also. I agree with that. I mean, we did put up 30-some points, even with all the turnovers and stuff, but I think we all get it, man. You were going to have to, as well as Washington was playing at that point and just the bad situation the offense put the defense in, all that stuff, we had to play not a perfect game, but a pretty dang good game, and we did not have that. All right, David, C.J. Gardner-Johnson made unnecessary penalties at critical times. Glad he didn't come back. Let's see, Detroit D, skip Ben Johnson. D Dunk, I really hope Eagles lose. So, it might happen. Let's see, Don Burt, skip Ben Johnson. Okay, public enemy number 1 says Ken. I concur. I can come on for sure. Well, we got 15 minutes left. Sorry, man. I just seen it, so we'll just get through the comments. We'll get you on the next one. Let me shoot me a message and let me know a day that works for you, my friend. Rob, hope you work it out, Man of Steel. There you go. Lose, Eagles lose. There you go, David. I'll go with that, said D Dunk. All right. We got some acronyms being thrown out there. Henry Moore, Jay-Z, exactly. But think about it. We will think about it. JDC, go Eagles, making spelling great again. Hey, spelling is not something I do great. Famous RW, JDC, thanks. Don Burt, D Dunk, also Broski, you talking to me? Is Broski in the chat again? I got him banned on like 47 different accounts. D Dunk, the Bears, laughing out loud. Don Burt, laughing. All right, Benedict Johnson strikes again. D Dunk, didn't even realize your initials were typing. Okay. Pierce, Aaron Glenn at least left with some dignity. He did. D Dunk didn't. All right. Rob Scooby Doo, yes indeed. Ken, Lions will put the boot to the Bears and Ben Johnson's. Yes, I agree. Ben Johnson, take your pants off. Once again, I'll leave that to you. JDC, I was getting ready to throw. Oh boy, here we go. Out there, Don Burt. Pierce, belt to Benedict Johnson's butt. I concur. Pierce, trying to find the pic on Twitter. It's I think I want to say the Sarge sent it over to me on oh gosh, what was it? What's the one? It's not Facebook. It's oh gosh, what's it called? Instagram. There you go. I'm almost never on that thing. Detroit, lately, Bama O-line haven't panned out well. Might want to avoid them then. Marcus, Detective Dan on the case. There you go. I mean, I did what I could to zoom in and make out some of it. I mean, some of it, hey, real statement here. Spelling is not my strength. So I did the best I could trying to make out some of those words. I haven't seen it anywhere. Yeah, I got sent it to, like I said, from the non-Facebook platform. What's it? Instagram. Let's see, Henry Moore. I'd say players can play. Ben Johnson did just that, and he's about to be played out by the Lions. Okay, I like Grant. Dre Forge rocks, and he rolls. Brian, good morning, Dan, and everyone. Maybe the Lions shouldn't use any dry erase boards. I'll go with that, man. At this point, that's probably sound news or wisdom. Pierce, the backer we need if Barnes walks to go to the Jets. Yeah, could be that. D-Dunk, no phones in the blackboard room anymore. Yeah. You know, and most of you guys know I went to high school with a guy named Derek Jeter, and rumor has it, at least according to him, anytime he would grow up or whatever and have people over parties, whatever, everybody had to leave all their phones out at the where you first walk in. He didn't allow them in there. I'd say the Lions could learn from that. Dr. Troy, I love his speed. Me too, man. Me too. Otscar, interesting hire. Bruce Gradowski as offensive assistant. Yeah, and hey, I don't know his resume fully, but I also get why they would bring him in. Philippines on the more that comes out about Bennett, the more he's ticking me off. Yeah, I think most Lions fans are going to feel that same way. Henry Moore, all I can say is I can't wait for the smoke to clear after the draft. Then the countdown to game day. Woo! Go Lions. Hey, be here before you know it. Silver Surfer, I think the Lions might ship Hooker like they from at least from the little bit we got to see him last year, it'd be hard not to like him. Eddie's Fish, Lions need to boost the defensive line, secondary, and offensive line. I'd like to see the Lions take Mason Graham out of Michigan. If he falls to us, he would be a perfect fit. Maybe we'll see if that happens there, Eddie. Michael, we won't have many picks after we trade for Myles Garrett. Ooh, I see what you did there. Detroit D, all photos should be taken outside of the facility from here on out. people that leave the organization. Yeah, you want to do that happy moment photo, that goodbye moment. Hey, the last time the band's together, yeah, maybe do it in the cafeteria or something like that. Then you only leak out what today's special is. Ron T, they won't draft Milroe. He's not an NFL quarterback. I'll go with that. Philippines on the man, I don't think it's a secret as to what we need. However, Benedict falls flat on his face in Chicago. I think most of us are feeling that same way there, Philippines. Troy D, we aren't getting Myles Garrett. Word is he wants to go to the Commanders. Hey, there we go then. I'll take him off the board. And B, I know we talked about it yesterday, but I do like the idea of Trey Hendrickson just for what it's going to cost to get him and what you can now add from a youth standpoint out there. I would love to have Myles Garrett. I don't want to give up 47 first-round picks for the kid. Brian, can you blame Ben? This is on Brad and Dan. Used your dang brains twice in a year. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, a little bit. I'd say, yeah, a little bit of, aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your surroundings. I think Eddie's Fish, I think that Coach Campbell did not win Coach of the Year. It is wrong, and it is a shame. Yeah, I was real surprised he didn't get it. Ron T, he can have Coach of the Year. We'll take sweeping them every year. I'll go with that 100%. Gun Guy, what happened to smoking Jeremy B? That's, the last I knew, which was a couple days ago, I want to say Moonscar and a couple other guys brought it up in the chat. He hasn't been on air in whatever it is, a couple days or something. So if somebody does know, let me know in the comment section, or if you guys want to text it to me or something. Hopefully he's okay. JDC, Chicago Bears, monsters of the Midway. I get it. Philippines, Benedict doesn't want to attain the reputation of a dirty weasel. Teams will want to pound on him, and I think they might be. Pierce, Ben Johnson equals Josh McDaniels. I like the way you're thinking. Eddie's Fish, I think that in this year's draft, the Lions might surprise everyone. Let's see what they do. It's always a surprise with Ben Johnson, right? He keeps everybody guessing. Johnny Gaz, happy Friday. Dan and Dooku, have a great Super Bowl weekend. Enjoy it, my friend, and let me know when we can get you on the show. Pierce, Bears, Lions, must be Sunday night football now. It might be. I wouldn't be surprised if, NBC or somebody plays it up. General Bound, good to see you, my friend. It's been a hot minute. We know Ben Johnson is a good play caller, but is he a leader of men is the question. That will be the big question. And I know Pierce had it in the comment section, maybe somebody else too, that maybe he's the next Josh McDaniel. I could see that panning out. Patrick, I believe the last Detroit Lions coach of the year was Wayne Fontes in 91. But they really did DC dirty. Yeah, and I remember when Wayne got it. Personally, Wayne Fontes is probably always going to be my favorite Detroit Lions coach, just from having been able to interview him, watch him coach, all that stuff for years as a reporter. He was just a great dude and fun as heck. And I love me some Dan Campbell, but Wayne Fontes is always going to have a special place in my heart. Philippines, I agree with you. Exclamation point. Green needs to put on some weight as an edge. He's also make one heck of a linebacker. Yeah, if it was me, he would be a linebacker. He'd probably replace Barnes, and then on obvious passing downs, take the edge. Non-laughers, Ben Johnson equals snakes. I'll go with that. T-Bone Lokes, Ben Johnson is a Cubs fan. Maybe true. Moscar, Gun Guy, not sure yet, but he abruptly stopped doing his shows and showing up on others. We usually message each other a couple times a week. No response, so praying for the best. 100%, man. Hopefully he's okay. Philippines, Benedict is a snake or an oil snailsman. I'll go with that. Brent, skip Ben Johnson. Bear Johnson, skip Bear Johnson. There we go. Detroit, Ben Johnson won't be successful. Book it. I will put it in the notes as it is booked. Rob Kendall, the non-laughers, a snake has charm. All right. Pierce, Detroit D, 2 years. He tried to come crawling back. He did. Gun Guy, 10-4. JDC, early Chinese prophet says, go Lions. I'll go with that. Elderly Chinese prophet, excuse me. Benjamin Brewer, no need for a family tragedy story. Something is also going on internally with this team. Not so sure that Campbell is all loved as indicated. We'll find out. General Brown, Ben is trying to play head games. Dan Campbell and Brad can't allow emotions to get the best out of them. Yeah, I agree with that fully. Don't make an emotional decision. Rob, JDC, confusion says, yes, and the church sits in his own pew. There we go. Philippines, some Lions fans have a sky is falling attitude after all the coaches we lost, but I think we actually got stronger. Just my opinion. No, I like the way you're thinking, man. I always try to find the positive in anything. JDC laughing. Miss Amberly, senior CJ Gardner Johnson probably didn't like being called out for being a bonehead. Could be that too. Michael, what do you got? O'Connell is 1-4 against Lions. MCDC is in his head. I will go with that. Greg, boycotting the Super Bowl. The NFL is up to the old shenanigans again. There's some people talking about that for sure. Philippines on demand. Hutch, as hard as he tried, I don't think would have been ready for the Super Bowl. Yeah, maybe not. And thankfully, at this point, we don't have to worry about it. He can just fully wait for OTAs and whatever training camp. Detroit D can't wait to see Ben Johnson press conference after all the L's they're going to take, especially to our Lions. I like that one. Yeah, we might have to do a live broadcast after the first one or two. John Benedict, the devil is inside of me. Johnson is the devil. I agree. Ken, Ben Johnson is about to find out what happens when you bite the hand that feeds you. P, yes, I concur. JDC, Philippines on demand. I lived through the 0-16 season. This season was a piece of cake. Yeah, and I get, and everybody's going to have their own take on it. Not happy we didn't get to the Super Bowl, stuff like that. Me, myself, and I, the way I look at it, we had 18 weeks of football. I was only sad on 3 of them. Man, compared to so many other decades, I'm pretty happy with that. Philippines, amen, JDC. Detroit D, I wish MCDC could smack Ben Johnson up for being, I'll go with that. Michael, any chance Lions switch to run more of a offense? I think you will see some more of that. Let's see, 3-3-5 defense. It could be. Yeah, I'm not sure what Shepard will have in store. Detroit Lions bad guy. I'm so proud for Myles Garrett nonsense to be over. He ain't coming to Detroit. We'll find out. Philippines, I'm glad we hired Kelvin as the DC for 2 reasons. One, he's going to do a great job. 2, if he leaves for head coach after 2 years, we get more compensatory picks. It's a win-win for us. Okay, Chef. Good teams, fans shouldn't cry about coaching change. Quit crying. Okay. Bus driver Brent, good morning, everyone. Woo! Good to see you, my friend. Been a hot minute. JDC, Motor City Bad Guy, makes for a good chat, though. It does. Detroit D, if we pick up Cup and not a top defensive end, Brad is a clown. All right. Detroit D, too much money and not healthy enough. That's kind of where I'm with him. When he's healthy, he's elite. But, man, he just is rarely healthy anymore. Philippines, I like this channel for many reasons, but one of them is no clickbait titles. There are so many shows out there with clickbait titles, and I let them know it. Great job, Dan. Hey, I do what I can. I'm guessing everybody does what they can. And I also get Philippines. Some people absolutely hate the stuff I put out there, but that's life. You're not going to make everybody happy. Let's see, the Detroit Lions bad guy, JDC, maybe. All right. JDC, Motor City Duke Crew, always ruling. Patrick, do you think that may have intent to do with Hooker, a solid train him someplace where he could compete for the starting job? Question mark, since he is in his upper 20s, then drafting a quarterback would make sense. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. And since we haven't really seen him since preseason, it's hard for me to really analyze. All right, guys, I'm going to look for a couple people that haven't been on as much since we've got like 3 minutes left. Mark, good morning, Dan and Drew Crew. Back at you. Brian, that's BS how Ben's going to win, but not Dan. Ben was good because Dan as the head coach. Yeah, I almost wonder if that's a statement from the media saying, hey, a lot of success was due to Ben Johnson. I mean, who knows? I'll leave that to you to speculate. According, Ben Johnson family loved Detroit, question mark. Then in Chicago interview said the family loved coming to the Cubs games, question mark, something phony. Yeah, I'd say there's probably some truth there. Mr. Ed, good morning, Dan, the Duke Crew. I'm enjoying all the draft. The chat this morning. Thanks, Dan, for putting on one of the best Lions Talk shows. Hey, every time. That's why we call it Lions Talk Live, right? Everybody can hop on in live. Jonathan, FTB, okay? Let's see. Southwest Broski, a loser, Bears fan. He's somewhere wishing there was as good as us. This clown is all over Lions chants. Yeah, I mean, he is consistently in Lions chants. Let's see. T-Bones. Keenan Allen is a free agent as well. I know that idea has been thrown out there, and he's a big dude. Miss Emily, after the Gibbs Fox pass with the plays on the whiteboard, what do you think that Byrne would still be with Brad and Dan, and the background pick would never show up as another pick? Yeah, they dropped the ball on that one. It would appease. Roughest Caffey, I believe we're going to see a very vengeful MCDC this year. NFL, beware. I think you are spot on with that. I think he's coming out with some heavy hitters after people. Phil, I'll love Chicago for $13 million per year. I bet you would too, man. Detroit D for me, MCDC, hands down, agreed. Henry Moore, blessings to you, Coach Dan and Durku. May your weekend be glorious. Same to you, my friend. Let's see. JDC, Ben, Dover, Johnson, and grab your ankle. Yes. All right. Moses Carvalho, Phil, agree 100%. JDC, happy trails, go Lions victory, and have a great day. Philippines, if we trade Hooker, we won't get much for him, but I would like to part ways. Okay, yeah, and I don't know what we would get for him, if anything, so wait and see. William, honestly, best thing to do is completely ignore anything about Ben Johnson. Yeah, I'll go with that. Dimitri, hey, I haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you, my friend. Dimitri, what up, though? Dan, can I get a woo? You want a woo? I'll give you a woo. How about a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a... All right. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the show. Hey, got it right at an hour. So if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're 15 subs away from hitting 13,100. Otherwise, if you would be so kind, hit the thumbs up button, hit all the buttons, hit the copy button, hit everything. It helps the channel out. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it to you as long as I'm not coaching. Be a good human being. Do something kind for someone you don't know. We'll see you guys all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to the Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Help Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
Or nuclear power?